the Rip Comic Podcast. I'm Robert Pettis, and tonight we have the new Rip Comics crew. Well, at least thought we did. Right now we have Roll, and we have the lovely Marty, and of course we have...
Hi, Marty.
Oh my gosh. This week actually is it's been a long time coming. It almost feels like it's been a week since we've done a show. But it's been a crazy week. I think all of us have had one heck of a time. It never felt that it was ever going to end. But we knew this day would come.
But he's gone.
And it's yep, that's it. It's almost it's like serendipitous. But
we have one less co-host. Oh wait, who are we talking about?
Oh, you know what? I got it right now. Let's get to first of the minute news.
First of the minute news.
This right here. This has been something that has actually been plaguing people almost for 2 years now. A lot of people. Some people don't even know about it, but I thought I'd just go ahead and bring it up here because I think to me, it's even more intriguing, especially with the King in Black coming. It's this. Donny Cates swears nobody will ever find the Venom #1's super secret Easter egg. Now, I've kind of mentioned this. I don't think I mentioned it on the show. I might have just hinted about it, maybe at some time or another, or maybe it was just kind of in passing. But I know I've talked about it off show, and one thing that we do know, it is not on the cover of the book, which a lot of people seem to be focusing. You know, they figure, if it's an Easter egg, like a very simple, simple.
Yeah.
You know, how is it that it could be that simple and be a simple Easter egg?
Is it so easy? Did he write effect instead of effect?
Those were toddler eggs. I purposely put those in front of you to find on purpose because I'm trying to sell a T-shirt.
It's a red herring.
Red herring. Anyway, so this one to me intrigues me the most. To me, I think it would be interesting that if we actually went through each of the pages to see if we can actually spot it live, so that way there's no shenanigans.
A special edition. Is that what you're saying?
I think I've got the perfect solution.
Mm-hmm. Cat, woman. Oh wait.
Oh no. Anyway, but no, I think it'd be an awesome thing. Maybe you know what? Maybe we just take a page for the next however many pages it is, and we'll just explore a page we're going to call it "Searching for Donny Cates' Secret Super Eggs" on the Rip Comic Podcast. Or something of that nature. But he swears that no one is going to find this. It's something that he's been slowly, kind of mentioning to people. He said it was in the first issue and it continues to be hidden, and that readers, he says readers will never guess what it is. The first issue that it was in Venom #1, and what fans will continue. If you go to his Twitter every once in a while, fans will say, "Hey, I found it. This is it." And he's like, Nope, you're not going to find it. Him and Ryan Stegman have actually made it a point, I guess, to work together in some regard to hide something in there. A lot of people say that there are some pages that resemble Grendel, and that's the symbiote dragon that the god of symbiote Null controls. So a lot of people have been thinking it relates back to the dragon itself. And then he goes, haha, man, you guys, this is an Easter egg thing. And I'm telling you, you're never going to find it. See, the thing is, the definition of the Easter egg needs to be broken down into a definition. If I put a website on a page, that is not an Easter egg. Guess what? That is called a link. That's called a web link to go to. Or if I'm going to put a phone number in a book, what is that? Is that something hidden? No, that is a phone number in a book. And he's done both of those. He did it in Thor. You end up calling the phone number, and you're hearing Tony Stark's phone. You actually call his phone. This just recently in crossover, to me, it's no big deal, but he put a web link. But when you click the web link, it actually takes you to Donny Cates' merch page. You can actually buy various shirts and different items like that. And I think that's cool. I mean, you actually are putting an interactive element into the thing. Now, an Easter egg, if those are the kind of Easter eggs that you've ever found in your life, and you've never really been Easter hunting, you're setting up the eggs like the way we used to set it up for our little kids, and we end up putting the little eggs and all that kind of stuff everywhere, and and all that kind of stuff. So when you're hiding something, you're doing it to you're hiding it. That's what it is. It's you're hiding an Easter egg. It's like, back in the day, it used to be, I found a hidden track on a CD and all that kind of stuff. So, you know what I mean? It's kind of one of those things. He insists that only himself and Ryan Stegman know on November 2nd, as we're noticing on the screen, it's a snapshot from the Twitter. It says, has anyone found the Easter egg in Venom #1, by the way? And he said no. And he goes, you guys in this Easter egg thing, I'm telling you, you're never going to find it. Only Ryan and I know about it. And and that's it. A lot of people are saying, like, some of these smudges or that that these are the hidden things and stuff like that. And they a lot of them kind of refer to Grendel. And the thing is, I don't think it would be something of that obvious. Now, what does it relate to? That is one of the things that I guess would make you think, what could it be? What could have? And every artists in the history of art and paintings and the pyramids and all that, they've hidden things in art. There are things in there that we don't even know what they are, but they're probably like hidden things. You hide a signature in something. What it relates to, I have no idea. But to me, I'm very intrigued to jump in as an Indiana Jones kind of thing. I think it would be kind of interesting. It says right here, this is not the time a super secret Easter egg has been placed in a Marvel property. Writer-director James Gunn placed a secret Easter egg in the first Guardians of the Galaxy film and says that no one has been able to guess it yet. So even he put something in Guardians of the Galaxy 1. A lot of people are like, oh, I see Howard the Duck. No. Like I said, that's out in the open. Why would that be considered an Easter egg? You know what I mean? So now,
when did Venom #1 come out?
2018. 2018. So you would have to go Venom 2018. Yeah. And then it ends up popping up, and it's what he's like standing, it's very, it was the launch of a whole new,
well, I'm going to read it right now and find it.
Yeah, after 2 years
live on the show, I'm going to be like, oh, there it is.
The most criminal minds have been on the search for this elusive thing, and you expect to find it in one show? How many hours do you think the show is, sir?
Found it.
How preposterous. It might be the Spider Slayers, for all I know.
Or the Jonah Jameson.
The Jonah Jameson mystery.
Robot
Schmobot. I don't know what to mobot about. What are your thoughts on Easter eggs, hiding things in movies and books and covers? Roland, Marty, do you guys have any? It's kind of weird for me calling my wife that, but I do it for the show. I do it for the show.
You usually call her Schmoopsy.
Schloop bloop bloopy doopies. But so what do you? What is your what are your thoughts on just Easter eggs in general, being in pictures, posters, books, media, an artist, hiding something, in something like that?
I think it's cool.
Thank you, Corbin Dallas. So
no, for real, I think it's cool because the artist is putting a piece of something that means something to them in their, I guess, their artwork.
Well, and I brought it up before where, you look at, comics nowadays, most artists, if you look at buildings, names of buildings, it's usually an homage to past artists, past writers. Even in The Crow, there was that building in the back that said Eisner, and I'm pretty sure that was a shout out. So Easter eggs are usually, and again, it depends on if you're putting an Easter egg in there for it to never be found. it's cool. You know, I mean, it gets people to read the book, look through the book, enjoy the book. Because guess what? The people who slab it, they're never going to know the Easter egg because it's locked up and it's sealed, and they're never going to be able to see it. And this is, you know, I've been a very big advocate of actually reading your books, to love them. Read them. I mean, you know, you've said before, you know, you remember how my comics looked, you know.
Mhm. Yeah.
You remember how my, you know, look how I treated that comic that you pointed out to me is like $45 now.
And that's
Carnage, or the Carnage comic that is probably a lot more that you told me was nothing.
and those are based around media that is happening currently right now. You have Carnage that's about to appear in the next Venom film. And then you also have, and then he's making his comeback, Cletus Cassidy, and of course the Donny Cates, King in Black, and anything with Null right now. He's on that path. And then with Mandalorian, which I thought we brought that up, dude. We said that's a sneak peek. I bet you a tie, and then bam. I was like, watch, and then there it goes. It just jumped.
And that's why I brought it up. I said, it's this right here. And I was like, this is going to make this comic even more, because this is before where they showed how he would have escaped. And you know what?
Cannon.
If you at the end of the comic, he ends up falling back into a Sarlacc pit in the Jawa ship.
Interesting. Somebody's reading some old. Did they read the Rip Comics podcast? Anyway.
It could have been one of those three people. And now we have four, because possibly we might have someone watching.
We have 3 people watching.
Is one of them Mama?
So,
I'm not too sure who it is.
Christian's right now going, Grandma, they're on right now. They're code names. You hear that? We're using code names.
So, Easter eggs. I think of Easter eggs, let me go back. When I think of Easter eggs, I remember.
Oh God! I'll remain. Okay, go ahead. You do your version. I'm going to tell you what I remember about Easter.
Well, I'm talking about, we would go to my aunt and uncle's. We'd go to Batman's house.
Okay, you got a nice story. Okay, go ahead.
Yes. And
I was going to tell you the day the white people came and did Easter with us.
Oh no! Is she watching? It was their family.
Oh my God! Yeah, it took rugby to a whole new level. It was the football fight in Flash Gordon.
Well, you have to say something about that now. I'll speed that one up. On Easter, we use cascarones, which are hollowed out eggshells with confetti in them. Well, when people don't know that they're hollowed out with confetti in them, they use real eggs. And that's what I guess our neighbors did.
Yeah.
They've never seen it before, and they wanted to.
They never got to experience Easter the Hispanic way or the Latino Mexicano way. And they just, look, Mom, I got a whole thing of eggs. And they're it was something.
Meanwhile, the Latinos on the other side are going,
yeah? They were shocked. Yeah. And it was a very interesting thing. And then when it came down to finding, Dad was cool. I mean, he said, yeah, come on, you guys could do the Easter egg hunt. But then it became like part football, part rugby, pushing people out of the way to get the eggs. Like it was almost like the first one to get the eggs, or I don't know what. That was like a Harry Potter kind of shit or something, dude. I don't know what.
Your mom might be watching. You better watch your mouth.
We learned this from her.
The actual people might be watching.
Yeah. So, okay, back to the Batman's house. And yes, we called my Uncle Batman because he told me he was Batman. He said he had the Batcave underneath. He bought me everything Batman. I still have the may rest in peace, Cesar Vela. He bought me the toy Batmobile from what is it, 86, 87?
Mm-hmm.
And I still have it.
We're going to talk about all that stuff in another show, stuff like that.
But okay, so we would go to his house and they would number all the eggs, because I remember they said, I think one year, like the whole next year when they were hiding eggs, they found an egg, so they like started numbering them. But they would kind of just put the ladder by the wall because they would hide eggs up on the roof. Like, and this was all the cousins, so this was like everybody would show up there, and it'd be like this massive. Well, did you find all the eggs? I don't know. They're up on the roof right now. And they would just that. So when I think of like hunting Easter eggs, it wasn't just like what we do with my kids, just kind of, I have a lot of young kids, so we just kind of throw them out on the grass and, hey, we point to them. But for us, it was like no holds barred. The parents didn't give help whatsoever. If you were a little kid, no holds barred. It's, oh, you didn't find any? Well, you need to do better next time. And, because that was Rob and Rich telling me, and they were all looking at me. We got eggs. But hey, counseling's helped. It's like, oh, did you get PTSD from the Navy? Some of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of it was from home, though. Anywhere.
I had a brother named Rob.
It's documented on YouTube.
Gosh. Yeah, I'm
documented
gonna
on
mute
YouTube.
some people. Whoa, my shoulder disappeared there for a little bit, and it's the infamous shoulder.
Uh-oh.
Oh no, that didn't really happen, Mom. I did a little bump off.
Did you send her a text?
I did a pop wheelie.
The pop wheelie?
It was just a little pop wheelie, and I scraped myself.
Pop wheelie.
That's it. It's a little papa willie. That's what Mom said. What you doing? The papa willies on the thing.
You're so stupid.
It's like coke, you know what I mean? All accidents on a motorcycle are papa willie, or every trick on a bike is a papa willie.
Ouch.
Uh-oh.
A dog bit my
Oh,
toe.
okay. I thought it was something else. Woo! This show just got confessed.
What did you think it was?
I don't know. The poltergoose. That's what I thought it could have been. Oh my goodness. All right. Well,
that was the Easter egg from Venom number 1.
There it is. The Easter egg from Venom number 1. Another important piece of news that relates to comic books and the world of Slab, and it is a no slab zone. But check this out. Did you get a chance to check this little headline?
No.
How widespread is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Last Ronin number 1 bleached misprint comic? Look at this shit.
Oh.
Yeah. And it gets better. They don't know how many of the, okay, mind you, the book was already allocated because it didn't even print enough. Now they don't know how many other copies of this very, sought after book. People are buying books, dude, and they're jacked in the middle because you know what? They're not even opening them.
Yep.
Imagine the guys that went and had him slab, and they're going to get a notice back saying, yeah, your book's fucked in the middle.
Whoa, man.
Yeah. You know what? You get a 9.8, but it's a bleached variant. So it's going to be interesting to see how many of these. If you have one of these bleached copies, anybody, the only, 10, 20 people in Corpus that have a book of this, if you have a bleached version in the inside, let us know. I'd be curious to find out what kind of ratios we're looking for, because now you're going to have people actually scrambling around to open up their Last Ronins, and they're going to try to find out. There are no replacements for these, by the way. They will not replace these. That's it. So you're going to have some that are like mint that are all the way through, and then you're going to have this bleached out variant. And then, of course, then you got the second print that's on its way. So if this book was already a hot book at $50, between $50 and $20 is what it's playing out on eBay. And now you've got this that nobody knows the exact count of how many of these books were jacked up. So
And it looks like it's bleached in the rear. I hear a lot of people like that though.
Rob.
So what do you think about that, Ro? I mean, luckily your versions are not like that at all.
No, nope. I got
the third one was
full color. I know, right? Well, somebody bought it.
Full color turtles.
So far, the comics that I have told my comic book shop to get, they're been sold out. The Spawn he ended up getting, there's no copies left. The Last Ronin, I didn't tell him to get that one. Luckily, when I saw it, there were 3 up there, and I was like, "Oh, do you know what you have here?" Crossover. I don't expect that to be there. And
You
so
said
he
they
had
had what?
crossover.
They
Yeah,
had three copies also. Is that what
3
he gets?
copies.
Okay.
Well, yeah. Um,
Yeah, it's kind of hard to see. Yeah. Okay, I see it now. And the thing is, the thing to notate on this, we're going to talk about the book itself a little bit later, but actually, speaking of secret Easter eggs and variants and all that, they threw a secret variant which they didn't announce anywhere else.
yep.
Somewhere on Twitter, somebody spotted it, and he goes, "Yeah, that's the secret variant cover. It's the cover that my brother has right there." The original cover of Crossover has the little boy reading the comic book that is his cover of him getting his face, blown out or whatever. But the variation actually has the ellipse L on the cover in the book that the boy is reading. So it's a little thing. And I mentioned this. I mentioned all of this to the guys. This is the cool thing about this particular book. Every little panel, you could count so many different things that are loaded into this book. Are they red herrings? You see facsimiles of characters that could be based on DC characters. It looks like you could see Thor, Shazam, Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. The poster in the back of
Right.
Spider-Man.
There are so many different Buzzkill. You can prominently see Buzzkill in one of the shots. The title. We've seen the cover of L breaking through on one of the covers, and we counted those covers last time. And this is a book based on Crossover, so you're going to see all kinds of superheroes. It's almost like having a guest artist or guest appearance or like Fantasy Island. You don't know who the hell's going to pop up in this particular book, but we're laying down the foundations of the initial characters as it is. And we'll get more into that book a little bit later, because I think that
I'm going to look for Charo now.
I really thought that was a really cool read, but we'll get into that in a little bit. So that's what I got for first of the minute news. Before we get into the reviews of the comics, I wanted to introduce everybody to my lovely wife, Mariela, or Mari, that we affectionately call her in the podcast world. She is the co-host also of Curious Transmissions, which is another podcast that we actually do. And I'm so happy that we're able to introduce her into the fold. I don't know if she's going to be able to be part of every show, but it's always good to get another person, another view, another voice when it comes to reading some comics, because a lot of us of all kinds read comics: young, old, male, female, animal, mineral, vegetable. All of us,
Vegan comics.
we all read comics. And that's the beauty of the comic books. But I wanted to ask Mariela, what was the first comic book that you actually can recall opening or seeing in your life?
I know it was with my cousin Arnie, because he would collect comics. And so because we hung out all the time, I was interested in the same hobbies that he was interested in. Is Mad considered a comic book?
I think so. It's considered a funny book.
Okay,
No,
well,
no. They had so many celebrated artists, comic book
yes.
artists. It's like, and every page.
Some recently just passed away.
Yeah. It to me, that is like that could be considered a gateway into other literature, because they parodied, film, television, politics, and everything. So you're always mixing.
Not only that, but Gru used to make little appearances. Argonius.
Yeah.
Archie
Argonius.
Yeah.
was another one.
Didn't they have their own like parody? Was Don Martin? He had his own little superhero parody guys. He'd be parodying Superman and whatever, and they would mix them up and all that kind of stuff. Archie, what else? I guess did you do anything like Marvel, DC, like Spider-Mans and Batmans and stuff, or do you recall?
I never really paid attention to like Marvel and DC. Like I couldn't even tell you, like y'all are gonna make fun of me. I don't even know like if Spider-Man or Superman or Marvel or DC. I have no idea. I just know like they were comic books, and like Venom. I think that was like the first comic book that I actually like went and out of my way to purchase. And then, because my cousin would collect them, so I'd read all of his comic books because he had them there in his room. And, he would read his own, and then if he was done with it, I'd pick up the book and I'd read them too. But I mean, like I said, the one that I actually bought was the Venom ones. So.
Whoa. There.
Hey.
Must have some kind of secret portal door or something.
Crossover.
So what I missed?
We were just actually introducing Mariela and her story into comics, how she got into comic books. What was the last comic book did you ever remember actually reading? Do you recall or looking at?
She tried reading Wolverine.
Yeah, but someone kept talking and interrupting me, and my ADD kept going out of control. I did read the crossover, the first one. I really enjoyed that one. I don't know. I guess manga is what I would really read. Bisengast is my favorite manga. Or graphic.
And that's something else I kind of wanted to have someone else, because I know I read manga, I've read manga, and to have somebody else with a perspective, knowing the art styles, the different type of storytelling,
Mm-hmm.
that's why I was happy that you're going to be a part of this, if not all the time, at least time to time, because I know I don't think Robert or Richard really read manga. I think
those are the ones you read backwards.
So that's where we're at right now.
It's gonna turn out that the Hobgoblin is gonna be, that's the Easter egg. There's a dude with a flaming pumpkin on his head. And Venom #1.
Yeah, but isn't that what happened to that character? He appeared later on.
It doesn't matter about the character, Rob. It's an Easter egg. It's imagery.
It's same effect, dude. Anyway, let's see where we're at, sir. Let's go. Well,
maybe this Easter egg is about the game you're not supposed to play when people are around. Oh wait, no, that's an ad. Never mind.
Yeah, we're going to examine the ads now. It was a huge week for comics. I had already mentioned last week that there was at least 14, 15 different books that I was kind of targeting.
Or a huge week for lack of comics.
Oh, yeah, that's another story. Something that's plaguing the town. It's one of these things, it happened before. I want to say maybe last year. Was it last year? Yeah, it was last year around the leading up to 300, Spawn 300. There was this little time where the books weren't coming in on the time. I don't know what, whatever. Different things.
I think what's going to end up happening is at the last minute, we're going to get a lot of mail-in comics, and it's going to change everything. We'll be able to read them, and they're going to be mailed in at the last minute. He's going to find all his comics, and they're going to be mailed in.
Anyway, let's get into, since there were a lot of books, it was a huge week for comic books, and like Rich said, in some cases there wasn't a huge week for comics in some places. But let's jump into this real quick. I'm going to go ahead and start with the infamous book that Roland had been desperately, eagerly, couldn't wait. This was just as much as the Teenage Turtles, and it's Wolverine Black, White, and Blood.
Top Marvel talent sink their claws into all new Wolverine tales, and they're bloodier than ever. Logan, Patch, Weapon X, Wolverine. It was, yeah. We've been waiting. The moment you showed me about this, and then it again, I follow Adam Kubert on Instagram, and I thought they were just kind of drawings here and there. He would show little clips. Yeah, so he would show just like part of the face, like a little snippet, and go, oh, just a little something I'm working on. And then you showed it when this came out, you sent it to me, hey, check this out. And I was just like, that's what he's been talking about. And Kubert's, one of my favorite artists that, works, drawing Wolverine and stuff like that. But overall, this is number 1 of 4. Can't wait till next issue because that's supposed to have a story written by my favorite and everybody's favorite, Chris Claremont. These are tales that we've heard about. We've always heard of Wolverine's, Berserker Wolverine, but you never really saw it, and Rob was saying, it's kind of like because of the comics code and stuff like that, we didn't see what he's capable of. But the things that happen in all 3 of these stories, and there's stories from his past, there's little things that tell something he was doing with Nick Fury. Look at that. He's cutting heads off, punching people with their claws out, cutting people in half. There you go.
Decapitation.
Yeah.
This
is the Wolverine, and he's not like, he's in Berserker mode for a reason, which I mean is in his character in that story right there. There's 3 stories there, and that was the Cabin Fever one. The Beast Within, so it shows Weapon X when he's the beginning, when they're teaching him how they're testing him on being a killer. I Shall Be a Wolf. This one has a story with Nick Fury in it. And again, it just shows how far he'll go and just how great his regenerative powers are. And then Cabin Fever is just another story of him just pretty much walking around and getting kind of thrown in a situation where he realized he needs to be a part of. It lived up to my hype. I couldn't wait for it, and it did not disappoint. I can't wait for the next 3 issues.
I'd say it led itself to what everybody's imagination had always been.
Which is what?
Bloody.
How is it that you can have those claws, right? You know what I mean? And they're not just blood everywhere.
They always told stories about, how dark and brooding he was because of what he's seen, what he's done, and this is basically explaining what he had been through. And it's just a snippet. He's been through generations of wars and different things like that. He's been a soldier. He's been in different armies of different kinds of, fighting and wars, blood. And this puts you a little bit more into his psyche of why he is the way he is and why he's,
Yeah. And this right here, these stories are only when he has his the adamantium put on him, which, like, again, this story starts off with the Weapon X. So I mean, like Richard was saying, there were so many things that he did when he was just, his claws were bone, and when he went through the Weapon X program, his memory got jacked with, and he forgot a lot of that. But recently, he was finally getting the pieces put together. So I totally agree with him. This is what we've been waiting for. Wolverine fans from the comic, like he said, we always heard that, and you just see him with a cigar, and it's like, yeah, I've been through rough stuff. No, we finally get to see that rough stuff, and again, doesn't disappoint. It finally, there can never be too many Weapon X stories, and again, just loved it.
Well, from what I saw with the one page that I was able to look at, I thought that the artwork was like really cool. And at the beginning, it was already intriguing. So,
and that's Adam Kubert. Again, like I said, he was sharing little snippets of this on his Instagram page. And again, I said it last issue episode. If you're on Instagram and you like, good artwork, follow him, because he shows a lot of his artwork that he's working on.
And of course, whenever you got a Kubert doing some artwork, it draws that tension.
The Kuberts. That's why honestly, when I hear the Kubert name, I'm like automatically like, I gotta check it out. And that also, brings us to the
There we go. We're back.
Ooh, I like that.
yeah.
Anyways, we got
What is that? Not good?
This was
no.
Okay. This was our hype train. We saw who drew it, and as you see, it's Emma Kubert, which is the granddaughter of Joe.
I posed a question to Roland. I said we've got Emma Kubert. She's got this book. We've been seeing a lot of splash on this one, and we decided
it sold a lot. It sold 100,000, didn't it?
It even had a second printing. It was a real successful first issue, and there was a little on the fence. And this actually developed a new segment of the show. This show has been put in a category of, is it pull box worthy? This is based on my brother's opinion, because he had a little caveat about the book and wanted to explore the first 3 issues. So we decided to do a dive into the first 3 issues of Inkblot. This is being the 3rd issue, and he was going to make a determination if, for him, based on the hypeness, because there's a lot of books that are hyped all the time. Department of Truth, Scumbag, Crossover. I mean, you name it. There's always a book that is being super hyped online, like 24/7. You're seeing, so many write-ups until the book actually makes its debut. Does it live up to the hype? Is it something you want to keep in your box? Because like we made the comment, there's at least 14, 15 books, not including tons of other stuff that are out there. I mean, there's hundreds and at least 100 books that come out, I think, on a weekly basis. So we decided to put this on the on the clock, so to speak. Is this pull box worthy, mission for Roland?
Inkblot. Again, we did a lot of hype on this because of Emma Kubert. This was her first, as
we're not knocking the art either. I mean,
no,
very accomplished artists and stuff like that. We're basically looking at the story, and when you're on a budget and you're having to take those, careful looks at those books, is this something that would be considered, pull box worthy?
I would want to read it based on the description itself.
No,
and the artwork.
Okay,
you know what? Mariela will take issue 4, 5, and 6.
I have to read 1, 2, and 3.
Oh no, you don't. No, you don't.
We'll explain. Okay, go ahead, Roll. Read the thing, and we'll explain after.
The cat befriends a sea monster, and the two venture into the realm of the depths. Sorcerers have become sea folk, living peacefully in floating kingdoms upon the endless ocean. The piece ends with the arrival of an unlucky cat. So, these first 3 issues are, you can just pick up any issue and read. This is like
books. Standalone
in a way, yeah. So this is Quantum Leap without the charm of Scott Bakula. The first issue, the first issue is what got us into, hey, is this, this is pretty good looking. Let's, it was actually decent. The artwork, again, top notch. She is a Kubert. She learned from the best. With that being said, okay, so issue 2 came out. Had nothing to do with the first issue. It had to do with this whole other story, and just so happens to have the black cat in there. This is a Scooby-Doo situation here. The cat just happens to be in the background, and then all of a sudden, I'm going to do a spoiler. The last issue, the story that was taking place, there was a call to arms, and they said, yes, we're going to follow the way of the cat. And then this issue comes out. So again, it was a brief look into these dimensions that they were talking about, but you're only seeing again, these captions right here are from the person from the first book talking about, oh, I've tried to look for this cat, but it's not really a cat. It's just this ink. And I have other busy things to do. and it just goes on again on this other story that really, with pull box worthy, it's not pull box worthy for me, unfortunately. I was hoping to get more information by the third issue. We thought the second issue was just kind of just a little taste of what is going to come out through the book, but then it just ended. So I thought the next issue was going to have that part of the story. It didn't. It had no closure from that second issue. So I
you're
mean,
saying it was like when you were watching The Walking Dead, and all of a sudden you get this one story, this one episode where it had nothing to do with any of the major characters. It was just like a little side thing, and then the following episode brought you back into the original story, and
But we're
that's
still
what this
waiting to
book
go
does.
back into
no,
the original story.
yeah, that's the problem. We're in issue 3, and they still, again, now the title character, the main person who created this Inkblot, is brought down to just a few captions on there of her saying, "Oh, I really don't need to worry. I need to look for this cap, but I really don't need to." And it's like, well, what,
So then the cat's like Gunslinger Spawn.
yeah. This had a feel to me kind of like that world of Bone. You see the sea monster there, but it's also, again, artwork's great, but then also there's like these like animated, characteristics of this. I just, unfortunately, I'm gonna like go into my local comic store and tell them to just take that off the list, because again, I don't get that many books. I can't. I've got a family, a big one, and I couldn't like go into a store and like try to spend $148 or something like that and getting comics and putting them back or something. So I have to pick and choose. I don't resell. I read my comics, and that's pretty much what I do. It's a handful. It's the Wolverine crossover, Savage Dragon, and now hopefully the Last Ronin. I thought I was gonna have to wait, and again, this is a funny thing about this comic book store, because again, like we've talked in the past, I thought I was gonna have to wait until the trade paperback came out of Last Ronin, because Rob was telling me, oh, they're practically nobody's getting them. People are putting limits on them. I walk into my local comic book store and there's 3 issues just on the shelf. And I looked at them. I'm like, can I get 2? Yeah, you can get all 3. I'm like, I'll just take 2. And so I got those. And then all of a sudden, again, then they're having issues about, one of the comic book stores not getting any comics at all. And here I go in, and again, there's crossover, just.
So unfortunately, my brother's verdict on Inkblot. But you know what? I'm gonna have Mariela read the first 3 books, and then we'll get it. We'll call it the second opinion.
And again,
it's a new. That's just his call on that, what he feels, because
again, I'm not saying it's bad.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. I don't want to. I mean, it's not bad. It's not a bad read, but for what? Again,
it's not something that you would want to spend money on.
The artwork's great. It's not the kind of comic I want to keep getting right now, but it's one of those ones where, every once in a while, maybe down the line, because it doesn't look like you really have to keep going with it. That, like I said, it has that quantum leap feel. Each issue is the only thing linking it together is this cat, and I don't know where it's going. If they told me, hey, the first year is just going to be looking at all these dimensions, and finally it's going to come together, and or maybe this cat is, you're going to find out, starts crossover.
You know what? That would be the most craziest thing in the world, that all of a sudden it's this cat somehow pops up. You know what? It would not surprise
They're both Image.
me. Yeah, I know.
They're both Image.
It would not
is it
surprise
Colorado
me.
that the cat lives in? Or is it just going to show
No,
up in
they're
Colorado?
in some kind of weird I don't know. I think they're in some
Dimension?
kind of they're in some weird like alt world. It is not like an Earth, right? Roll. Did you get a sense that it was Earth of some kind?
Well, I mean, they're different dimensions. I mean, they're
Right,
different
right.
dimensions and kingdoms that he was able to find these ways into these kingdoms, and he went through and took out. But see, okay, even then, you read issue 2 and 3, and you don't know anything that happened from issue 1. You don't hear anything about the king or these different, no, you don't. In second one, you don't even hear about the queen that is her sister. You just hear you. Then all of a sudden, you're in these different dimensions, and they're different hierarchy. They're different princesses and wizards and sorcerers. And again, I thought I was going into this number 3, continuing on, because it's like watching an hour-long episode and stopping at the 30-minute mark, but never getting to finish it. And then they just go to the next a next story, and then it's like a Twilight Zone and watching only half of it. You don't even get the closure of.
Yeah, there was something of a weird speed up on the end of this particular issue, which I found it very strange. Either that maybe the book was originally written a little bit longer, and then they kind of, because the without revealing too much, there's some kind of a conflict that ends up happening, and it's almost like we see part of it, and then it's like it zooms into this other thing, and you're like, wait a minute, what am I missing?
What just
something?
happened?
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the next show that we have Mariela on, she'll go ahead and do her second opinion of Inkblots 1 through 3, and then when issue 6 comes out, we'll all take a look at Inkblots as a revisit and see if maybe it is something that can make it back in the box, so to speak. What do you think?
And again, now, Mariela, how do you, Maddie?
I'm gonna read them.
Yeah,
I'm intrigued by what the little description was, and the little kitty cat was cute. So
well, it's actually just ink. It's an ink blot. And so the
cute little eyes.
They're ink blots.
But yeah, no, seriously, it is a good read. I just can't budget wise do that.
All right. Well, what we've been doing, we had been seeing the last we've been doing the X of Swords. We got to the halfway point with Stasis. We're going to start with X of Swords X-Men. It's part 12, and it's X-Men number 14. This is the variant cover, which am I missing something here with this cover? Yeah, you said this. This doesn't come into play at all in this book, does it?
At all. No. So it is like a Todd McFarlane cover.
Okay. Well, we got a little shorts haiku that we usually have as part of these descriptions.
The lovers, a garden, a chasm of secrets.
Well, they're delving further into the, I guess, the background story of Genesis and Apocalypse. The harder and tougher they make her, the softer he appears to be. It goes back to what she had said before: you're not strong enough. I mean, I like this book. It was a good read. It kind of stalemated us to where it didn't move on. Kind of like a filler piece again, but it delves a little deeper into Apocalypse.
This was a good turning point. To me, what it did was, and like Richard said, it set up, because again, we have to have some. It has to have meaning, and that's what this issue did. It was a filler issue, but it wasn't a wasted filler. It ended up showing that maybe that's why Apocalypse had been so hardened throughout the millennia, because of the loss of his wife. To me, it was a good filler issue because it gave backstory where we needed backstory without having to read the Xavier files. These I have to say, I remember after reading these, I told you this X-Men and Marauders were two books. I was like, I can't again, it pushed the story along to the point where I can't wait till the rest of so which next week is another Marauders. But anyway,
And let's do that. Let's get right into that, because that is the next book. And obviously there's a lot of stuff that is going on in this book. Now, we've already discussed.
I like the other cover with Storm and Death. That was
Yeah.
actually pretty interesting. But anyway,
we've actually referred to what the event is in a very Enter the Dragon, Balls of Fury, and of course, when you have all those, you must have a large banquet style meal of sorts. And in Mortal Kombat, also, they even use that day we're in Mortal Kombat. So
I like how, and this one again, and like you're saying, it's the calm before the storm. This issue right here, pretty much, they tell them, hey, right now, let's, there's going to be so much bloodshed tomorrow. Let's, break bread and drink together. And it gives them a chance to start sizing everybody up. I like that issue. I like this issue for that. They're all trying to pick their strategies, and the people of what is it, Arakoa?
Mm-hmm.
You can see all of them just underestimate the people of Krakoa, which are the X-Men that we know. A toast, a dance, a dinner served, part 1, rated T. Which, again.
Go ahead on that note. You said that. Oh, there you go.
There we go.
There's your cover.
I remember when we first saw this, we were like, "What the heck?" What this did was validate Storm again. Throughout the years, they have really. I still don't think she gets the accolades that she deserves. She's been a leader of the X-Men. She defeated Cyclops. She's been the leader of the Morlocks after defeating Callisto. She's done a lot. And she is, even though, we've seen those issues, the last time that we've seen an embrace like that was her and Forge. And you remember he broke her heart. Like, she was just like, what the heck? And I think this validates who Storm is, just how strong of a character, a person she is. And even right there, you were wrong, War. This mutant does not fear us. And she doesn't. She's just like, yeah, whatever. I'll take y'all on whatever. I've danced with death many times in a different form. And she talks, she has probably one of the strongest characters in comics. And I think even in the media, how they always talk about people like Black Panther and stuff like that. Unfortunately, they overlook Storm, who, to me, again, and this is way back in the 90s, she has a vulnerable spot, but she's very strong. And she's like an actual person. She's, and they don't use her like they could. And again, like I said, things like with Black Panther, Black Panther's this, and it's like, she's always been, she was one of the ones known as a goddess, when Xavier first went to talk to her. And so she's always, she's been treated like a goddess, and then reverted back to a teenage, a kid, where she was pickpocketing stuff. And if I recall, one time they did a throwback to where he remembers a small child pickpocketing his Xavier, his pocket, and I think it was Storm. And so again, she's been a survivalist, again, through all her stories of even trying to survive in the streets of Kenya. And I think I like it. I like that, it's not like they're trying to reinvent Storm. If you look at her stuff, she has day in, day out has been the strong character. And I just either they don't know how to promote her or what, but she's she's one of the strongest, and I don't mean physical wise or anything like that, but the strongest character that the X-Men have had in, for the past 20 years, past 20, 30 years.
Well, if you look deep into her storyline, she's the only X-Men in the circle that they're going to have who is still version 1.0. All the others have been reincarnated. She has never been killed. Never been killed. She hasn't been brought back. She is still the original Storm.
Well, it's but because she was referred to as a kid. I was thinking of the nanny storyline. But yeah, no, you're right. She was never killed. I don't want to give away the ending, but of part 1. But wow, I can't wait till next week. There you go.
Well, with an ending like it had,
don't give it away,
they gotta
man.
answer questions.
You've been giving spoilers away all over the place, man.
They gotta answer questions quick. I mean, heck, heaven forbid you're gonna look at the cover of the next issue, and
I know
that's
gonna.
Yeah.
But that's not even what per se happens. But
see, that's the thing. If you end up looking through previews and stuff like that, you are quickly going to get.
It's not even a spoiler. It's like, what the heck,
Yeah. Okay, but it goes back to, like, I mean, a lot of people who collect comics don't go through previews. I mean, most people browse the comic scene. They go to the comic store and they see what's on the shelf, and then they decide, again, pull box worthy. And so these people are.
I take for granted we had a preview book every freaking month in our house, dating back to before 1989 or 1991. And we would go through it and, check this out. 3 months later, what? We had to wait.
And that's what I'm saying, is that a lot of people don't. And that's why that's one of the reasons I have that issue with the comic store we have here in where the city I'm in. Because you can't do that. You can't go in this comic book store and see what's on the shelf, because again, they have like X-Force number 6, and it's already like a year later right now going on. So I mean, you can read that comic and go, ooh, whoa, when's the next issue coming out? Oh, this one's like a half a year old. So
does he have Venom number 1?
No, I've looked.
I was gonna say, then you could have found the hidden Easter egg.
But he has been getting Dr. Doom on the shelf since issue 1.
My Little Pony?
No, unfortunately, no. But he did tell me that somebody in their box has Sonic stuff. Oh, never mind.
So what's your theory? What's your theory on this book? What was used?
Yeah.
What was it? What was it?
But you know what?
I don't think the hand, right?
Right, but I don't think he drank it yet.
No. It was in the food. I don't think it was. Was it the drink? Because
he didn't do anything. No,
you see him sprinkle over. Well, because if you look at the frame,
I know she's doing that, but you don't. Again, you don't. Did he eat or drink anything?
No, he got right up. Right, no, he got right up. But what do you think was? What was it?
Well, I mean, they're trying to tip the favor. So either they're trying to. I mean, again, unless they don't know who the hell Wolverine is, because I mean, are you really gonna be able to drug him? I mean, his healing factor.
Well, yeah, he goes. He through
drinks immensely. So yeah, exactly. So. Do they underestimate him? I don't know what's going on. And I saw that. That's the first thing I saw, like, oh, what's going to happen? But then he does what he did. And it's like, wait, were they already doing that? Or is that, I mean, he was already pissed off the whole time. In the beginning of the book, it starts off with him pissed off. And, so, and again, with his sense of smell, he couldn't have smelled something different in his drink or his food. I don't know. Again, we're gonna have to wait till next week. Well, at least we can, see it already next week. Which, again, it's not even a bi-monthly. It's like the week after another Marauders is coming up.
They should have just gone black and white with it. And
well, let's go ahead and we eagerly can't await. We can't await the next 3 issues of the X of Swords or 10 of Swords if you're looking at Roman numerals. But who knows where we're going to be able to get that, because now this store just it doesn't have
Probably my
anything.
comic store.
There you go. We're gonna Roland's gonna have to help us there. But
I need 3 of everything. 3 of everything.
the new book that we're gonna actually find out if it's pull box worthy is one that had like what we were discussing before. We're talking about the hype train crossover #1. Okay. This is the cover that we were talking about a little bit earlier. He's reading a comic book of the comic book that we're seeing. The variant that they're calling it the secret variant because they did not announce that there was going to be an alternate cover. The book that he's reading actually has an entirely different cover, and that's the version. We don't know what the ratio is, but I think I've heard anywhere from 1 to 25 or 1 to 50. So for every 25 issues, they were chunking some of these books in there. In some places, I saw people holding up to 3 of these. Now, I don't know if they went scattering all around to different comic shops or it just so happened 3 of them ended up in one store or whatever the case may be. But these books right now are going anywhere from $35 to $40 a pop for the secret variant cover of Crossover 1. So let's do what we usually do and roll in.
The creative powerhouses behind the best-selling, critically acclaimed God Country, Thanos Wins and Redneck returns for the biggest launch of the year. Imagine everything you thought was fantasy was real. And now join us in a world where reality is dead and anything is possible.
All right, I'm gonna give the honors to Mariela. Just this was like she had mentioned. This is the first book that she had read in a long time. You don't have to really get all into But what were your thoughts upon reading this book? First off, jumping back into the comic book world, and obviously this is very superhero type of book. It's a little bit different than what you had described of some of the other stuff that you read. Maybe something along the lines. I could see where Venom would fit in, but so what were your thoughts initially when you opened up the book and you started looking at the artwork and stuff like that?
Well, I like the artwork. I like the colors. However, I just thought it related to what was going on in the world, like current events and stuff. But using I don't know how to explain it, not unless y'all understand what I'm saying.
They were using a lot of the what is currently happening in as the backdrop. There's a lot of similarities, but they were using the imprint of the comic book world.
So I took it as it was like a political thing, because that's the way it felt to me, especially with what's going on in the world. Well, like, okay, so like the bubble, I mean, that was like, I took it as like the wall that they're trying to build at the border, and they're trying to like keep these superheroes out, which is what Trump was, to me, in my opinion, that's what Trump was, trying to do. He's trying to like with the news outlets and stuff, he's trying to keep like that at bay or whatever. And that's what they were doing here with keeping, I don't know, like the people that were in the comic books and stuff like that. They were trying to sell like the propaganda books or whatever to the comic book guy. And I took it as those were the Trumpeteers. So
Rich, I don't know if it's going to get any easier for you. You had asked Roland, how would you describe this book? You've had a chance to look at the book. Do you have a way to describe the book?
It's not a book I would want to keep reading. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'd probably pick up an issue later down the line, another one, just to see how it's moving along. But it's nothing I would probably. It's not my wheelhouse. It's over socially commentated. It's not in the same vein as his normal writing. he's taken a big different turn on this book. He'll have the same, I guess the term would be, he's going to have his twists and his turns that he normally puts in any of his books that he's writing, Venom and that kind of thing. Which I'm pretty sure once you start seeing the other characters, I mean, they make mention in, how did you get in or out and so forth, and they throw in the name Superman got them in or out. Now it doesn't say whether it was true or not, but that's what they say. It just, they hyped it up to have a lot of crossover stuff in it from different characters and everything. I had a bunch of Easter eggs in there and so forth. But if you get too tied up into the story and the underlying message that they're trying to put through, you lose the ability to keep an eye out for those Easter eggs. It's like it takes over the story.
Right off the bat, Richard's already saying that this is probably not something that he would probably continue. Maybe he'd check out some stuff a little bit later on. So what are your thoughts on
when you look through the book, you see a lot of, and again, it is where I've read it twice. I told you after I read it the first time, this is a book I'm gonna have to read 4 or 5 times, just like how we watch movies. I like the setup. I kind of like the initial, they're telling the reader, hey, this is what the story's really about. And so it's kind of, again, first issue, it's like, as we've talked before, it's like the pilot issue. It's just like how we felt about Inkblot #1. We thought it set it up, but so far in Inkblot, the execution hasn't gone through. Here, they set it up. Just like it, already, the first issue gave Mari that feeling of what's going on today. And I felt the same way. There's certain little snippets here and there that go, okay, I see what he's doing. So something else that I'm noticing, and that, I don't know how, there's certain people in this comic that may be drawn a certain way to look like somebody. How many people in this book are actually supposed to look like somebody?
People? What if they're right? That's the Easter egg. At times, I kept double taking, wondering, is that Donny Cates in the book? Yeah. Are they putting themselves in the book as?
That's what I was wondering, and especially in the comic book store, it's like, wait a second, are these like actually the people that worked on the book? Is there? Are these, the creators of other books? Are they, what is going on here?
It's the ultimate blur of real world crossover comic book, blah, blah, blah. There's so many inside things in this thing where it's, what it is? It's like when Tarantino does his, and a lot of people, they're on the fence of this because it doesn't seem like the typical Tarantino movie, and that's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. They said that is his love, or his love note to Hollywood and what he feels about Hollywood film and the heyday of that kind of era and stuff like that. I've heard similar things about crossover and Donny Cates, that this is his love note to comic books. He was a comic fan as a kid. I mentioned this also in the previous podcast. And he ended up owning comic book stores. And then, he went to art school, and then he eventually, started, getting into the comic book biz. And now he's one of the hottest writers right now. And it's almost like, well, let me go do this, and I'm not going to forget the people that I used to work with. We're still going to continue working together and making, the next project and stuff like that.
What's the longest run? What's the longest run of a book that he's been on as a writer?
I would say Redneck right now, like continuously doing books. I think
yes,
Redneck. Redneck has the
How
most
long
issues.
Has he been doing that one?
I think they're close to issue 30, or they're almost at issue 30, if I'm not mistaken. And previous
almost 3 years. Almost 3 years of doing it.
Yeah, I think so. I believe
And
so.
that's almost close to Chris Claremont. To his 17 years of doing X-Men.
Well, and then then if you look at Venom, he's been doing that since 2018. Well, look at that; they're almost up to 30 issues, also.
So that's an actual pretty big dome to cover all of Colorado.
And then you can see it in Utah.
You would have to be able to.
See,
probably
that guy smiling. The guy that was smiling just right there. Is he somebody? And you have John Goodman as the priest.
Yeah, and it's amazing how they bring Molotov cocktails into the whole thing, huh?
Mm-hmm. Oh, because of Akira.
They had a lot of them in that one.
You know, but you're right. What ends up happening when you got something of that nature, anybody could be a potential. Oh yeah, you didn't know I put my cousin in there, or oh, I put this celebrity artist there, or I put this writer in there, and all that kind of stuff. So I guess that's the fun part of the whole thing. It's almost like when you're looking at the Sgt. Pepper's cover, or if you're looking at like a Mad Magazine, when they have like the whole big spread and they have all these like crazy little things happening.
Yep.
You don't know what is, the parody and what's real and what's, some kind of fictional character and all that kind of stuff. So you end up playing around in that particular realm. So
like Raiders of the Lost Ark. When you look at the hieroglyphics, they have the Star Wars guys in them.
Yeah, but there you go. That's the first issue of crossover.
And the first.
Oh yeah.
This will be the first issue of the pull box, so we'll see.
Yeah, the new if it's pull box worthy, most definitely. That's an episode of Rip Comics podcast. For me and the crew, keep reading.